Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome into episode number 5 of our WCW 1998 save in TEW 2020. This is Thunder for January week 2, and we'll talk a little bit about the formats with this series moving forward at the end of the episode. But let's go ahead and jump in because we have a lot to get to. I know it's been a little over a week since we had our last episode, but if you subscribe to the channel, which I hope you do, just hit that subscribe button below. We've had a lot going on with our WWE 2021 save. We've kind of hit a groove with that, and we've just got a lot happening on that. So that sort of took precedent over the next episode in the WCW one. But let's jump into this one. Pre-show, Mortis and Wrath get the win over Public Enemy. 51 overall, as it is. The usual stuff here. We've had Mortis and Wrath on our pre-show before, and we don't really have any hard-built storylines for them right this second. But they are at least people we want to keep kind of on the horizon that we could potentially use, and we will use in the future. But for now, they get the win over Public Enemy on the pre-show. All right, let's jump into the main episode of Thunder. And it starts with a segment featuring the NWO here, 82 overall. Everyone comes out of this looking good, so good to know there. Hogan is backstage with Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Eric Bischoff. Sort of the main main pillars, I guess, of the NWO in its current form. Of course, there's a lot more members, but Hogan wants to know where what he considers someone else at the top of the NWO, Randy Savage. Where is Randy Savage? He is not there. And Hogan, we kind of teased that a little bit on the previous episode with Savage perhaps not necessarily falling in line with the exact plans for the NWO. So Hogan wants to know where Savage is. He's not in the building. And then he turns his attention to Hall and Nash and says that the NWO needs to handle their business because they've got a lot of big stuff that they need to do. And once they get to sold out, Hogan needs to win the title. Nash has got his stuff with Giant. Hall's got his stuff with Larry Zbyszko. And Hogan makes it clear that they need to handle their business because he doesn't like how it's been going with Savage losing to Sting last week and all this other stuff. So Hogan's sort of giving a pep talk here to the NWO to start things off. And our first match is Dean Malenko getting the win over Psychosis using the Clover Leaf and gets the 68. The most notable part here is that Malenko gets the win via botched interference from Chris Jericho. Of course, we've had this feud going on between Jericho and Malenko, and this is just continue that storyline here that we have going with them. Jericho saying that he didn't lose to Malenko when he clearly did, and a lot happening with these two. So far from finished on this Malenko-Jericho storyline, and it adds another development here with Jericho costing Psychosis the win against Malenko. And then, wow, a 53. Are you serious? Eddie Guerrero cutting a backstage promo. He's about to defend the Cruiserweight Championship against Juventud. And it gets a 53, but this is stunning because every Eddie promo we've had thus far has done really well. I want to say pretty much low 70s, I think. But we get the poor dialogue improvisation here, and that knocks us considerably to a 53. So I'm pretty disappointed with this one, as Eddie's usually great when it comes to improvising the dialogue. But it's Eddie cutting a promo, taunting Juventud ahead of their Cruiserweight Championship match. Eddie doing his thing here, running down his opponent, and that will lead us into the match itself, which gets a 59. Eddie defeats Juventud Guerrero 12-12. The Frog Splash does it, and Eddie, his first official defense of the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. We see that Eddie here, a 62 overall in his in-ring performance. I think if we look at the notes here, I think his overness is in the upper 30s, so he's not the Juventud that he would become, which we're going to try to see what we can do with that. But I wonder what we get here. Yeah, so Juventud is still considered inexperienced, doesn't have much psychology, the stamina, all that's not there yet for Juventud. So we'll have to work on that. But we did want to kind of put him in here with Eddie to start things off to kind of see where he's at. But that is at least something that we see here, and it's considered a poor match, which we hope will not be the case if these two are fighting a year from now on our WCW programming. But yes, 59 overall, her favorite of this one, as Eddie defends his championship successfully. And here we go. This promo is a little bit more like it. Goldberg is ready here. Our friend Bill Goldberg The streak, he says, will continue. It's your usual Goldberg promo here. He's got his match coming up next with Michael Wall Street. We hyped that one on Nitro. 82 overall here from Goldberg. He does a good job improvising, so that's good to know. But it is Goldberg saying that he's going to keep things going here and that you know what's coming. Michael Wall Street is next. So Goldberg hyping up the match. We always like to add in a little promo from Goldberg because the ratings usually do pretty well. So that was the basis for that. And if you thought Michael Wall Street was ending the streak, well, I'm sorry to tell you, he is not. As Goldberg gets the win over Wall Street, 458, uses the spear, 52. We're not expecting technical masterpieces from Goldberg at this stage of his career, and he's really off his game here, so that does not help either. If we look at the dirt sheet, we did protect Goldberg to try to limit some of those bad things, but we also did push this as sort of the storyline aim, or the storytelling aim. So they do get penalized for holding back, but we have to have one of those on each show, and the shortest match I thought was the best place to put that in. So that's what we do here. But the streak continues, and I will try to figure out for the next episode, what is the number of the streak right now? What is the win total for Goldberg? We might just make up one in our heads. But Goldberg's streak continues here with the win over Wall Street. And then it is Gene Okerlund with Diamond Dallas Page on the stage, and DDP is out. He said last time out he wanted his next challenger. He wanted to see who was going to step up to him, and here comes Steven Regal as Regal comes out. And apparently it is Regal who is confronting DDP, and he wants a shot at the U.S. Heavyweight Championship. And it is Regal performs poorly here, but we're okay with that. 76 overall for the segment, but he performed poorly, but he improvised well, so that's good to know. But Regal says he wants a shot and that he's going to prove that he deserves a shot at the U.S. Heavyweight title, and he's going to do it next in his match with Davey Boy Smith. And DDP moves out of the way, just sort of says he's going to be watching as Regal makes his way to the ring for his match with Davey Boy. Now, here's where things get fun and interesting. So, Steven Regal, on the surface here, this looks like just your basic match, right? Steven Regal gets the win over Davey Boy Smith in 7:02, gets the Regal Plex to do it there. Davey Boy, better in-ring performance, not really surprised. Match gets a 62, it's okay, but we had a decision to make here, folks, and the decision was made because, again, this is much different in terms of our save here. This is not like our WWE 2021 series where we are the only show in town and we have no competition. I'm sorry, AEW is not competition in our series. So we have competition here, and we need to do what we can to make sure we put the WWF out of business at this point. So, if you remember, Davey Boy Smith officially bolted for the WWF. He was on a handshake deal. We didn't realize it. All that stuff. It's our own fault. But because he is on his way to the WWF under an exclusive written contract. His contract is up in 7 days. I think now it's probably like 4. So I don't think he's going to be on Nitro. You know what I did here. We needed Regal to get a win to boost his momentum. But I'm sorry to say that I did mark it as dominate because I wanted this to be completely all Regal the entire match. We weren't trying to, just completely decimate Davey Boy here, but we kind of were because Davey Boy is very unhappy at the booking, extremely unhappy. I didn't care because I wanted to knock his popularity before he heads to the WWF. I mean, this is how it's going to be. So this is what we're going to have to do here. And yeah, I feel a little dirty for doing it, but you know what? We're in a war here, and we got to do what we got to do. So the best choice here, Regal didn't have a lot of momentum. His overness is still, I want to say, like upper 40s, low 50s. Davey Boy's overness, like in the mid-60s. So we tried to get the most out of this before knowing this is probably going to be Davey Boy's last match. And let me just tell you, if it's not going to be Davey Boy's last match, and I see that he's available for Nitro, we might have another situation like this because I'm trying to win here, and we gotta, Davey Boy jumping ship. This is the Monday Night Wars. We can't afford that. So Regal gets the win. So clearly he showcases what he can do, and we'll see what's next for Regal with DDP. But I did want to note that sorry to all the Davey Boy Smith fans out there. I'm not doing it maliciously, but we're in a war here, and this is what you get if you jump ship. So note to everyone else on the WCW roster. All right, after that, it is Raven cutting a mysterious promo as Raven does. He is with the flock, and Raven tells Booker T that next up in his journey through the flock to try to get that match with Raven, is going to be Saturn. So it'll be Booker T versus Saturn on Nitro, and Booker T is very intrigued by this because now, if you think about it, he's really only one step away from Raven. So that is where we're at on that. 66, not bad here for this one. Booker T also poorly improvising the dialogue here, so that is worth noting. And then, wow, this is much better than I expected. A match between Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell gets a 70. That's decent. I am surprised by this. I'm not going to lie to you. So it is Buff Bagwell getting the win over Scott Steiner in 6:35. He does it via countout. So a little shenanigans, but what do you expect from the NWO? It is, this is kind of an interesting one here because a 70 is not what I was expecting. Really, we didn't get knocked for anything with Scott and Buff, so that is something. That may be a pay-per-view main event down the line with these two, but it is capped for the short match length. We continue our storyline with the NWO and WCW, but the reason for the count-out is what we have coming next, and that doesn't do quite as well as it is Norton and Rick Steiner getting involved. So now we've got the Steiners and Buff and Norton. They're brawling into the crowd. So we continue to kind of set the stage for what perhaps is to come for our tag team champions here, and we continue the tension between the NWO and WCW. But a little pleasantly surprised by Scott and Buff there in that 70 overall match. All right, then it is Hall and Nash who are mocking the Giant. Hall and Nash going to be in our main event, big main event, as it's the Outsiders against Lex Luger and Ric Flair. That is our tag team main event here on Thunder. And Hall and Nash mocked the Giant, saying that he isn't at the arena and that they told him that they were going to do this on their own terms. Nash would have the match when he was ready, and they took advantage of that on Nitro when they attacked the Giant. And so they're just mocking the Giant here, doing the usual things that you expect from the Outsiders, and gets a nice little rating here, 79. So they're getting ready for the main event, and so is their opponents, Ric Flair and Lex Luger, as they are hyping the big main event match here. Of course, we've got some stuff going on with Flair, who on Nitro, it was Flair who basically issued the challenge to Bret Hart for a one-on-one match with the winner, getting the winner of Hogan and Sting, who are going to face off for the vacated title at Sold Out. The winner between Bret and Rick now will get that match for the championship at Super Brawl. So Bret giving up his opportunity that was granted to him, and that Flair could now have the chance to take that spot. So, but before we get there, Rick and Luger are going to team up here as a good promo here, which is what we expect. I mean, Flair and Luger, they're a good duo when it comes to on the mic and charisma and that kind of stuff. So good stuff here, and that's going to take us into our main events: Ric Flair and Lex Luger versus the Outsiders. And then a pretty decent match here, 75 overall. It is Lex Luger and Ric Flair getting the win over the Outsiders, 14-15. As Flair comes in and uses the figure four on Scott Hall here, as we get some interference from the returning Larry Zbyszko, and it is Zbyszko who's been just taunted by Hall. He's had this ongoing feud with Hall for a while now, and Zbyszko comes back, interferes, goes after Hall's leg. That allows Flair to lock in the figure four to force Hall to tap and submit, and that is sort of the setup here for how this one played out. We continue to get that good note here from Louis Piccoli, doing good work as the manager here for these two in particular. And, of course, we get the excellent chemistry between Nash and Hall. That's no surprise. But a nice main event here. This is, again, we got so many different combinations we can work with after we had that 4-on-4 brawl to end the last episode. So that is, something we can work with, and certainly we're going to be working with that on the road to Sold Out. So a nice main event, but we're not done here, as afterwards, here comes the Giant. You knew what was happening with the heels mocking the Giant, saying he wasn't at the arena. Well, he is indeed. And here comes the Giant down the aisle, and he comes in and just starts hauling off on Nash. These two brawl. So we have these two going at it. Chaos everywhere with the Giant and Nash. And so the Giant is back to get his revenge on Nash after that beatdown on Nitro. So good little segment here with the Giant making his return in this one. And then after all the action clears out, we've got officials clearing everything out. It is Mean Gene Okerlund after all the chaos, and Gene. After there's chaos, Gene's just flustered, and everyone kind of goes to the back, except here comes Hogan, and it is Hogan coming out to talk to Gene. And it is then, before Hogan can really do a whole lot of anything, Hogan sees Bret Hart coming out. And here comes Bret Hart, as we know, again, what the setup is between these two. And because Bret was also a part of that sort of, save that we had at the end of Nitro, where it was, those guys making the save for the main event. It was Bret, Luger, and Flair. Hogan tells Bret he better stay out of his business, and that he does not want to. And we see your Bret Strowman going off script, so 90 overall. It's not bad, but he wants Bret to stay out of his business. He says this has nothing to do with Bret. Bret isn't even sure he's going to get the actual championship shot anymore. And Hogan tells Bret he needs to be worried about Ric Flair, not about Hulk Hogan and Sting. That is not what he needs to worry about. So he is kind of, sending a message here to Bret Hart to stay out of the NWO's business or else. And meanwhile, as this is happening, we get these two exchanging words. The tension is building, and then the camera pans to the rafters. We almost got it, 99, where it is Sting watching from the rafters as Hogan and Bret are exchanging words, and we go off the air watching Sting from the rafters as he has sort of a visual, an overhead visual of everything going on. So we kind of see things from Sting's vantage point, and that is how we end the show, with the tension building between Bret, Hogan, and we have Sting sort of just waiting to perhaps see what's next for him after he, of course, won our main event last week against Randy Savage. So there is this episode of Thunder, and it gets an 84. Not bad. We would have liked it to be a little bit better, perhaps, because we're trying to hit those upper 80s at this point. But we do increase our popularity in 9 regions, so that's what's important here. The usual people delivered. The Eddie promo was a little disappointing, but the entire main event stuff here was all really great. I thought there wasn't really anything that was that disappointing here at all. Even the Buff and Steiner match was a little, I'd expected to hit a 70, so that's good to know. But our main event stuff delivers. That's what we always need. So a solid show here on Thunder, and let's see what we need to get to before we wrap up this episode. All right, so let's see. New Japan increasing their broadcasting. By the way, I don't remember if I mentioned this, but we did increase our international broadcasting deals to have a little bit more coverage. So that is something worth noting. I guess we can look at that quickly. If we look at here, let's see. Yeah, so we have a little bit more coverage internationally than we had before. Some of these were just unavailable to have deals in, but we did expand our coverage elsewhere in some of these different places. So that is worth noting to try to continue to increase our popularity. Thunder, let's see. We get an awesome show, fantastic reviews, good to know. Harley Race joining OVW, that's good for them. Who else? Anything else notable here? Perry Saturn travels. So Saturn interested in working in foreign places. Well, we do have a deal with New Japan, so perhaps we send Perry Saturn there. It looks like Paul Heyman joining WWC, so that is noteworthy. Tatanka in OVW. All right, good for him. All right, to our mail, which, as we know, this gets wild, our email. All right, Sean Morley, Val Venus, of course. We had him on our short list. There's that. ECW offering Kevin Sullivan. I don't think we're too concerned about that in terms of I'm not really concerned about that. We'll leave that there to look at it. But Barry Darso, he is available to work. So Saturn also available to work in a new game area. Let's see where that could be. I mean, he's working pretty much everywhere. So I'm not sure which one it was, but yeah, he can pretty much work anywhere at this point. Can Saturn. Oh my goodness, look at this with Ric Flair. You got to be kidding me. All right, actually, let's just look at Sullivan real quick. He's on a handshake deal. Let's see. We need to address that. So let's just go ahead and do an exclusive written contract for Sullivan because he's pretty important from a road agent standpoint. He's not going to wrestle, I don't think. I don't really know how much we're going to use him as a wrestler. So, all right, we're just going to make a deal there for Sullivan so we can get rid of this. All right, Ric Flair against Scott Steiner. Here we go. So Zbyszko's against Steiner. We've got tension there. All right, Pedro Morales, same thing. Raven, strong dislike of Scott Steiner. Well, that's worse than simmering tension. Hoovy, even Hoovy. Flair is turning Hoovy against Scott Steiner. Well, there goes our Starrcade feud between Scott Steiner and Hoovy. Vandenberg, also tension. Scott Hall building a clique. Hold on a second. So Scott Hall is building a clique between Spicoli and Steiner. We've just got everyone hates Steiner, so we got a clique building. This is turning into like the WWF in 1995 here. This is getting out of control. All right, well, Thunder gets a 2.28, but so clearly we've just got all this backstage chaos going on with all these clicks, but we'll see how we handle it with that moving forward. But there you go. There is Thunder. And on the next episode, it will be Nitro. And I mentioned earlier about sort of the format. I know some people have mentioned, can we just do like both Nitro and Thunder in the same episode? I am strongly considering that at this point, because I would like to be able to kind of progress quicker in this save. I know, the schedule thus far, I've talked about it. It's just with our WWE 2021 save, the way it is, we just kind of, we booked those shows pretty intensely. And we've, now we're almost 5 months into that save, and it's just kind of the routine. We've figured out what works and what doesn't. And so rather than maybe trying to make this one exactly like that one, because it is sort of similar, we do have 2 shows a week to book, and they're both A shows. We may try to just sort of put Nitro and Thunder in the same episode. It's really been a time thing where I've just kind of gotten to the show and I have to sort of move to the next one, and I don't necessarily get to book an entire week at a time. So that's kind of been the thing thus far. But I will consider that, because I do think it would be better just to, move this save along a little bit quicker, since I'm probably going to have 1 episode of this per week now. There are some other things I'm considering, with this as well, but that is just something I wanted to note. So for everyone hanging in there, I appreciate it. I know this has kind of been sort of a slow burn early with this WCW save, but we'll get things moving right along, and maybe that does involve trying to put a couple shows into 1 episode. So we'll see what we can do with that. But as always, thanks for the great feedback that you guys give me. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that subscribe button as we continue. You guys you're great. I can't believe how many people just enjoy these series, but they're so much fun to do, and I always appreciate the great feedback and interaction. So be sure to subscribe so you get these when they go up. And on the next episode of this series, it will be Nitro for January week 3, perhaps also Thunder for January week 3.